We've literally generated millions of dollars from our own pricing pages on our website. But the thing is, most businesses still don't share transparent pricing online. The fact remains though, 80% of buyers want to see pricing before they talk to anyone. So in this episode, you're going to learn exactly how to build a pricing page that prints money. Hey Brendan, thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Inbound Buzz.
Always a pleasure being here, Mobes. Happy Friday. Thanks for having me.
Happy Friday. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about why pricing pages even matter.
Pricing pages are so critical. So there's some research from Gartner shows buyers spend only about 17% of the actual journey talking to sales reps. That means everything else before that is them understanding the actual journey and a basic fit for what they're looking for. So that pricing has to be a part of that self-guided journey. And we need to be able to give them a gut feel that they're going to be aligned with that. Even in the ballpark, doesn't have to be really specific. So despite what people think, hiding your actual pricing doesn't filter out bad leads. It really filters out good ones. Because if you know you can have that kind of resourcing to just get onto it right away, then you're able to actually commit to it. You're way more engaged with the conversation. Otherwise, you're having this talk and in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, can I even afford this? Is this even aligning with me now? Is it a 2 months from now conversation or a year from now conversation?
Yeah.
So that's really, really important here. And like we said, 12% of B2B marketing service providers only display the actual pricing on their website. And that's a pretty stark contrast to around about 72% of people who actually want pricing. So that presents a really strong opportunity for people.
The stats and data is there. Google's done this data. You shared Gartner. We've been talking about this a long time when it comes to they ask, you answer. And you know, the funny thing is this, we all get frustrated when we can't find pricing online. It's the F word of the internet. Yet still so many of us, if we're in the B2B space, don't share pricing. And we talk about this, you know, we're from a They Ask You Answer philosophy, the book, check it out if you haven't already. But one of the 5 types of content when people are ready to pull out their wallet, when they're in buying zone, not research zone, is the price of something. That's why we've literally say that we've made millions of dollars having pricing pages. But let's move straight on. So let's get straight into the anatomy of a pricing page that converts. Now, what we are not saying, because I know we've been talking about this for years and years and years. Oh, you know, like, if I just put my pricing up there and people will just have my pricing and they'll compare me on price. We are not saying like in the pricing, in the value or in the absence of value, of course, people are just going to compare you on price. There has to be value there. I'm not asking you to put up your Excel spreadsheet of your pricing. In the absence of value, people will compare you on price. I said it better the second time around. So the point is actually talking about what the buyer will get, what value they'll actually get. You know, if it's a complicated, sometimes people say, oh, it's complicated, it depends. Talk about the it depends, like what actually makes the price go up or down. Talk about that. Because guess what? One thing we gleaned over, we didn't even mention AI. Like, you're searching for this stuff too, the prices of something in AI. Where do you think AI is getting it from? So it's going to help AI too. It's going to help load up AI overviews, whatever, with what factors impact price. So definitely talk about that. Our pricing page is not a bad one to look at. You know, if you go to redpandas.com.au, we literally have a pricing in the top nav. You can go there and you can see how we've laid it out. But yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about anything else in regards to the anatomy or the structure of an actual pricing page, Brendan.
You have to really consider that from a trust building exercise. Like, what's going to be on the page besides actually the price itself? The association of what they might get for that in a way that's digestible. You don't want to drown them in content. Trust signals, people you've worked with, just give people a little bit more comfort. Because in the absence of all of that, having a price without a clear breakdown of what that involves is the other end of the spectrum, I feel. And then sometimes you get this apple to apple comparison, which isn't necessarily true, which is why a lot of people are scared typically.
Like our one, whenever you're listening and you check this out, you'll see, and I'm just going on the HubSpot onboarding one, but we have like different categories. There's like a video that talks about a key business outcome. So on the HubSpot side, it's like HubSpot without blind spots, track your leads and close more deals. And then it shows you the outcome. Then it's got 3 different tiers. Then it's got, some adjacent services, what's included. And then to your point, Brendan, social proof up the wazoo. And then it's got an FAQ. Now the FAQ, and this is the thing now, you have to write for robots and for people, not one or the other, because even when you try to take shortcuts, something will get compromised. But it's literally for people. But also, guess what? AI and the robots that scan this will see all of those questions. And a lot of these questions people have asked me in the sales process. That's why we've put that on the page. But I think that's a good sort of summary in terms of like the whole point is value, 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 things that impact price, not just pricing lists.
Agreed. And what we really want to speak about here again is you'll have lots of people going, that's great, guys, but how can I have this align with me? My process is a little bit more complex. The deliverables are really nuanced. How do I make sure that this is going to be a reflection of what I can actually do? So you don't have to hit the nail on the head when it comes to the pricing you're providing. You don't have to go, it's going to be exactly this many dollars, this many cents till end of financial year 2026, right? What we want to be doing here, though, we can give people ideas of ranges. We can show people calculators so they can get closer to where they need to be. And I might go off on a slight little tangent here. I saw a video not too long ago of someone that's handing out gold somewhere in Russia, I believe, it was near the Kremlin. And some people would accept it and other people wouldn't. And there was no catches. Some people asked, is that for me? Nothing, no strings attached. And people actually went and some took the gold. And the person walked away and spoke to the camera. He said, I was handing out value. Just because the people didn't see it doesn't change the value of what I'm offering. So having your pricing then visible on your website communicates that confidence. That's what we really want to articulate here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we've already touched on this one, but what about, maybe let's kind of double down on this one. If, Brendan, someone says our pricing is complicated, my pricing is complicated, I can't just put it up there. What's your response to them there?
The goal there is you can give them something that's at least indicative. Maybe you could show them a case study of something that you've done in the past. Again, digestible is key. But having tools on your website, we spoke about that in one of our last episodes, pricing calculators, etc., can help them get an idea, a gut feel of the ballpark. So again, you're not trying to have a 100% reflection of the actual resourcing that you have for your service, for your product potentially, but we want to let people know that, okay, cool, it's going to be a $10,000 conversation or a $100,000 conversation, and they don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking about people here who operate in really, really high-end solutions. Like we had a client once, they're builders, but they build airports. Right? They build airports. So someone like that. Now, of course, it's a very relationship heavy industry. It's a very tender heavy industry. I 100% get it. But there is always a segment of the market that is new, that is researching. There's a whole bunch of people graduating every single day that don't know the business. So like you sort of say, like a case study that says, the typical range for a project like this could be this, and it depends on this. We had a prospect who, because I know it's a scary thing, right? But it actually makes more money than not. Marcus Sheridan talks about this. We've spoken about this. We had a prospect who was in our process. They found us on Claude and they researched a bunch of terms. And how I found out that they were educated by what something should cost is I literally said to the person, they said Claude, but I didn't ask them what they put in. And then I said, oh, look, do you have like a budget in mind, or have you looked at pricing already for this type of project? And they said, well, funnily enough, he said my boss did. And he's mentioned, I think it was like 25 grand. And he's like, that happens to be the price on your website. So I believe that's how he was educated on the price. So you see what I'm trying to say? Like you just said earlier that by the time they speak to you, most of it's like 80% or 60 something percent, right? Most of the purchasing decision has already been done, because they've researched. So why don't you be part of that research? So this client was literally giving me the budget that our website gave him because the website educated him on it. So it works a lot. And there is always, every excuse you have if you're listening to this, please reach out. You can hit me up on LinkedIn. You can complain. You can abuse us. But there is a way around it. We can do it with finesse.
That's the key. Agreed.
Cool. Yeah, any sort of final thoughts and comments before we wrap this one up?
I think the goal here is just communicate not just what you do, but why it's important. And that alongside pricing does an amazing job to give value, not just cost. When we talk pricing, we're talking value. And as long as the page showcases that, you're going to be in a far better position.
Yeah, it might be a sales confidence problem, not a pricing page problem. So the best thing you do is review a pricing page this week. If you don't have one, then I would recommend you look at competitors. And if your competitors don't, that's even better because you could be the first. Then I'd recommend go into AI and ask an LLM, like Claude or ChatGPT, how much does something like this cost? What you actually offer, and see what comes up, see where it pulls its sources from, and then look into those sources, and that could be a great place for you to do something better. But thank you so much, Brendan, and we'll join everyone again for another episode of Inbound Buzz.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Mobs.
Thanks for listening to Inbound Buzz. Learn anything? Return the favor by spreading the word. Want to make your mark in digital? Need help with your digital strategy, inbound, and marketing automation efforts? Then visit redpandas.com.au and be sure to tune in next time for another Inbound Buzz hit.